That was interesting. It's great to actually get your view on that. I mean, I've always held the view that you should start consultation as early as possible. But often, given the complexity of the design process, sort of wondering, is it feasible from the architect's point of view? So it's great to get your comments on that. Um, as I said, I'm a planner, and you've already talked about like one of the first starting points for you is looking at planning regulation. How much do you feel that planning regulation, I guess, clips your design wings? Is it beneficial guidance or is it just sheer aggravation? Would you love to be in a world where you just literally had a blank sheet and could design free of regulation? Would it work?
I think that could be dangerous for architects. Just giving them a blank sheet of paper. No, look, I think planning is good. There is a framework that we need to work within. So that's the first comment there, I think. I think the issues arrive when the framework is so restrictive that we don't have the flexibility to design within those constraints an outcome that everyone's going to be happy with. So there's often times where a DCP or a design guideline is so constrictive, you have no movement to move within the design and there's no inherent flexibility. So there's a good intent, but there's often then that inflexibility leads to poor outcomes. So there may be a better outcome, but you can't get that achieved because the planning is so tight on the site. I think the other thing is guidelines out there, and often the guidelines are good, but not when they're used as a sort of rule book that you must follow. The guideline by nature should be something that guides the design, not necessarily informs the end outcome. So I think if we look at, we're in a housing affordability crisis here. Often the regulations hamper the delivery of housing, and that predominantly is something that will then mean the affordability is worse. We should really be looking at things like flexibility of apartment sizes. If we're constrictive on the apartment sizes, you can't then provide a sort of diverse amount of housing, and the typologies then become very driven to be the same sort of outcome. And often I think there's a lack of sort of flexibility that would allow then, adaptive housing for more people.